What's up, guys? Today, I thought I'd do something a little different. I know I've been doing a lot of Star Wars stuff recently, so I thought I would continue on that. There's my Star Wars poster up there. But, I'd continue on my Star Wars thing that I keep doing. And today, I feel like ranking the worst to the best Star Wars movies. Ranking all the Star Wars movies from worst to best. All 11. The 9 actual movies, the 3 trilogies, and then Solo and Rogue One. I'm gonna rank all 11 of them from worst to best in my opinion. Now I don't have I don't have the movie cases with me to show you them. I don't have edits that I can do to put things on screen to show you, but I'm just gonna talk about them and say what I feel about them and rank them from worst to best in my opinion. Okay, so starting with 11. The worst Star Wars movie, and I think I'm not the only person in the entire world who would say this, is The Phantom Menace. It's bad. So, The Phantom Menace is episode 1 of the prequel trilogy. Episode 1 of the whole thing. Now, let's start off with the good things. I like Qui-Gon Jinn a lot. He's a great Jedi. He's a great dude. I love him. I love Liam Neeson in that movie. I mean, he gets murdered in the end by Darth Maul, but it was such a cool fight. Like the ending, Duel of the Fates, the music, great. The battle is great, but it doesn't add up to the bad parts. Let's just start. So, Anakin as a little kid, awful, not good at all. I mean, his lines consist of "I'll try spinning, that's a good trick," and "Yippee," and "Now this is pod racing." So the worst lines in Star Wars. Kind of when I think of Star Wars, I think of the main trilogy and my number one, which I won't spoil it for you. But Anakin is just Jake Lloyd. I don't really know if he was a good actor or not, because I know he starred in something before The Phantom Menace when he was maybe 7 or something. But that movie's just so bad. It's not his fault. It's George Lucas's fault, I guess. But it's such a bad movie. And Jar Jar is easily the worst character besides one guy. Jar Jar is really annoying. I don't like him at all. I mean, he's kind of funny, but I mean, he's so funny because he sucks, because he's dumb, and that's why I like him a little bit. I mean, I'm ranking this on seriousness, by the way, but the worst character is easily Viceroy Gunray for me, the Viceroy of the Galactic Trade Federation. His voice is so annoying, and his lines are just so bad. This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them. It's so bad. But for me, The Phantom Menace, I like it a lot. It's so bad it's good for me. But in all seriousness, for me actually as a Star Wars fan, I love The Phantom Menace because I think it's stupid and wonderful. But in all seriousness, I think it's the worst movie. It's just the acting and the characters are so bad, and I can't imagine what it was like in 1999 to have not seen a Star Wars movie in 16 years, and then to go to the theaters all excited, and then to go watch that. That was one of the highest grossing movies of all time, and it sucked. It was a flop. I can't imagine. Alright, there's The Phantom Menace. Alright, number 10. Let me think about it. Number 10. Well, for me, see, it's a challenge for me, because number 10 is either one or two different things. All right, I'll show some mercy to the prequels. All right, number 10 is The Last Jedi. Okay, so I like The Last Jedi. I like all the Star Wars movies, I'm going to be honest. But, I mean, The Last Jedi is, compared to the rest of the Star Wars movies, really awful. There's not much lightsaber action in it. And that's what I like in my Star Wars movies. Kylo Ren's a baby in that movie. He screams a lot. For a Sith Lord, he's awful. I mean, Snoke gets murdered. That's cool, I guess. But for me, what does it the most as the bad part is I don't really like Rose's character that much. She's the girl that Finn goes to the rich island with. I like her a little bit, but she's not my favorite. I don't like her that much. Luke in exile on the island and the one planet. I don't remember the name of the planet. It's terrible. Luke Skywalker is one of the greatest Star Wars characters of all time. And to just see him lying around, just being like, Force is I'm just not going to use it. The Jedi it's time for the Jedi to end. And then, see him die at the end. I'm sorry, you should know that this video contains spoilers. To see him die at the end is so sad, From the main trilogy, he's been a character in existence since 1977. 41 years later, he dies, Actually, no. 40 years later, exactly. Because I believe it came out in 2017. But that doesn't matter. Rey is I don't really think the Force dyad thing between Rey and Kylo Ren where they can see each other, I don't really like that much. I think it's okay, I guess. It's not that great. Yoda was cool, seeing Yoda, but he wasn't animated great. We just saw him for a couple seconds, though, when he burned the tree down with the Sacred Jedi texts. But we didn't know that Force Ghosts could do that before, And then, the worst part to me, though, is, well, there's two bad parts, really bad parts. Number one is the island that Rose and Finn go to, like I said before. The rich island is just ugly, or whatever, the rich planet. It's stupid. I don't like the characters there. It's not a cool scene at all. It's like it's like a casino. It's like a gambling place. But the worst part for me is the entirety of the movie. The whole plot. It's just the Resistance trying to escape the First Order. That's the only thing that happens throughout the entire movie. It's just them trying to run away and seeing if they can make it or not. They eventually do in the end, by the skin of their teeth, because Luke kills himself in order to save him. But it just doesn't work for me. It's not a good movie. It's not like action-packed, like good versus evil. It's good trying to get away from the evil, And they don't explain how they get to that point. But yeah, so overall, Last Jedi, I'd prefer to watch Phantom Menace than Last Jedi because Phantom Menace is like a meme movie. If I want to watch a better movie overall, I'd pick The Last Jedi, but The Phantom Menace, or let's stop talking about The Phantom Menace, but The Last Jedi is just not great. And if I'm being honest, I am probably the nicest person to The Last Jedi, if I'm being honest. So that's that. Number 9 is Attack of the Clones, easily. I went back a month ago, and one night I watched The Phantom Menace, and the night afterwards I watched Attack of the Clones. I used to think Attack of the Clones was the worst Star Wars movie. This was before that The Last Jedi came out, and this was before I rewatched The Phantom Menace. It got better. I hadn't seen that movie. I hadn't seen Attack of the Clones in 4 or 5 years, and after rewatching it, I do like it. I really do like it. Episode 2, it's not great. The romance between Anakin and Padme is kind of hard to watch. Continuing on from the first one, when Anakin saw her and was like, "Are you an angel?" But Attack of the Clones, Anakin's all grown up and stuff. And it's just not fun, the whole movie is about Obi-Wan going to see the clones or something, and then the Battle of Geonosis and going to Geonosis and when Obi-Wan gets captured by Count Dooku. But the Anakin side of the story is what really, for me, brings it down. When Anakin, or as Padme calls him, Annie, falls in love with Padme, and they eventually become a boyfriend and girlfriend. And at the end of the movie, they get married. But for me, Not good. Not a good movie. It's not great. I mean, I like it because it's a meme movie. You know, it's enjoyable. It's fun to watch. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's some great movies that come out of it, like Elon Sleazebaggio, the guy that wants to sell Obi-Wan death sticks. That's funny, and the archives are incomplete. And just it's funny, but overall, it's not great. I mean, the return of Jar Jar. Jar Jar is like on the Senate now. He gives the Emperor, or he gives the Chancellor Palpatine, emergency powers. Overall, though, I will say one thing that for me really brings the movie up, and you know, I was debating whether in my mind before I made this if I like Attack of the Clones better or if I like The Last Jedi better, and the reason that shoved the Attack of the Clones up past The Last Jedi for me is because Attack of the Clones has better lightsaber fights or lightsaber battles, like the Battle of Geonosis with all the Jedi versus all the droids, and the clones come in, and Mace Windu kills Jango Fett. It's just such a great scene. And then the scene at the end where Anakin and Obi-Wan lose to Count Dooku. That's a great scene. Like, it shows what Anakin learned, you know. It shows Anakin as a Jedi for the first time, really. That's a great scene. When Yoda comes in to fight Count Dooku, that's great too. And then Count Dooku goes talk to the Chancellor at the end. That I like the lightsaber scenes in that movie. But another thing that drives the movie down for me is the scene when Padme and Anakin are in the factory with C-3PO and R2-D2. I don't really like that part. Like, especially when C-3PO gets his head attached to a droid. Like, you don't need to add that scene. That literally adds nothing to the story. It's kind of supposed to be comical, but it doesn't succeed at all in comedy. Alright, so Attack of the Clones is my number 9 choice. Now, number 8, this is where it starts to get hard for me, because I have to think, what movie could possibly be after that? Like, number 9, or number 8. For me, number 8. I'm just trying to think of all the movies. Alright, so number 8 is, for me, is gonna have to be... I'm stuck between 2 again. Alright, number 8 is gonna be The Force Awakens. Alright. Now, The Force Awakens, I'm just trying to make sure that that's the movie I want to go with in my head. You know? Alright, I'm going with The Force Awakens because it's the first time that I'd ever seen a Star Wars movie in theaters. It was a great time. It was opening night. I loved it so much. I used the bathroom when Han Solo and Chewbacca first came on screen, but apparently the theater went really crazy when that happened, but it sucked to see that. It sucked to see Han Solo die at the end, you know. It sucked to miss that part. Now, for me, The Force Awakens is a quality Star Wars movie. I really, really like The Force Awakens. But for me, kind of with Star Wars, it's honestly what movie did things better than others. The introduction was Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren just seemed like a bad guy, you know. He seemed like an angry dude. But with The Force Awakens, I felt like the story kind of dragged on a little bit. I mean, seeing Finn, a stormtrooper, you know, really just turn against the First Order, as they're called in the sequel trilogy. Seeing him really turn to the good side and being like, you know what, this isn't the life for me. This is wrong. People are dying for no reason at all. That was cool. And then when he saved Finn, I loved that part. Rey, on the other hand, which is on Jakku, I don't really like that part when she meets BB-8. Not great. And then when Rey and Finn just get to know each other, you know, and they go with Han Solo and Chewbacca to try to help to find Luke Skywalker. I mean, that's okay. Really, for me, what brings the movie up is, again, the lightsaber scenes and the end. I love and hate that Han Solo dies. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my god. I couldn't believe my eyes. I really couldn't believe that Han Solo, a character that I had loved since I was 4 years old when I first saw A New Hope or whatever, I can't believe he died, you know? I just couldn't believe it. But it was a really cool movie for me because it was my first time seeing it in theaters. But the lightsaber scenes are really cool and really stupid. Like, Finn picks up a lightsaber and can't kill a stormtrooper. And then when Finn fights Kylo Ren, Finn is able to kind of block all of his shots. Finn, an ex-stormtrooper who, you know, misses everything. They shoot there, they'll miss. They shoot there, they'll miss. He hits Kylo Ren, who is a Sith Lord, with the lightsaber. Like, that's insane. That doesn't make any sense. How could a freaking stormtrooper almost beat a Sith Lord in lightsaber combat? I mean, obviously, Kylo gets him, and then Rey fights Kylo and uses the Force for the first time, and then Rey wins. That's cool for me, but, like, Rey is just kind of a lame Jedi to me. Well, she's not really lame. I like her a little bit. It's just, I don't see her as, like, a cool Jedi, you know? She just doesn't do it for me. I mean, I don't know what it is. Certain other scenes that I'm missing, I like the scene when they land. I like the infiltration scene when they land on the First Order base and they plant the bombs and they rescue Rey. I like that scene. The whole scene with I forgot what her name was, but the little orange lady. I think it's like some Roz. Or no, that's the lady from Monsters Inc. What am I talking about? She's cool, I guess. And when Rey finally touches the lightsaber and sees her past, that was cool too. Anyway, for me, The Force Awakens is kind of like a middle of the road, mediocre, hence the name, Vincent the Mediocre. Mediocre, middle of the road movie. Well, not really mediocre, but it's a decent movie. I really do cherish The Force Awakens. All right, that was number 8, right? That was number 8. All right. Now to number 7. Number 7 is Solo: A Star Wars Story. Now, Solo is decent. I again, it's like Force Awakens. To me, it's really cool. I mean, there's no Jedi in it, and that's why I like it, because it's different. It's not scared to be different. Obviously, seeing a Han Solo movie after Han Solo dies is hard to do, but I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, obviously, if they would have gotten Harrison Ford back for the Han Solo movie, that would have been epic. But, you know, he's old, and they had to find somebody new. Now, Solo, it was a good movie. I did like the scenes with Lando and Donald Glover, Childish Gambino as Lando. I like the gambling scenes. That was cool when Han won the Millennium Falcon from him. I love the parts like when they at the end with the Wookiees. I love when they make the Kessel Run. That's really cool. It's a saying that made no sense, and now you finally know what it means, right? It's really cool to see Han Solo as what was he, like, a member of the Empire, and then he turns good, you know? He had a girlfriend and everything, and they were going to try to escape together, but then he had to work with Beckett in order to make ends meet and, like, have a life for himself, you know? It was cool. And then the droid was really funny that Lando had. And then the one part when Lando's just like, the Calrissian Chronicles, Chapter 5. That's cool, too. Because it's stupid, and that's a funny joke, and I love it. That's why I love it. But, certain scenes could be better, like, when Han met Chewie, I thought that was okay. I mean, Chewie was gonna kill him, you know, like, because he was forced to. When Han finally meets up with his old girlfriend again, and the head leader of whatever they were doing their job for, I forgot the guy's name with the 2 little swords that are red, lasers on the ends. I forgot their names, but when Han meets with them, that's an okay scene, and then they go and make the plans to do the Kessel Run. I really found it interesting when Han's old girlfriend was talking to Darth Maul, but I mean, they never did anything with that. They just kind of left it alone, you know? Anyway, that's Solo for me. It's a good film. And for me, it's the middle of Star Wars. I did since that's number 7. It's like the very well, it's not the center of Star Wars, but it's like number 6 is the center, but it's close to the middle. All right, so moving on to number 6, as I just said, the most middle of the road film for me. Number 6 is actually going to be number 6, Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is a great film, classic, but it's not like my favorite. All right, let's start with the good. I mean, again, a phenomenal movie, a phenomenal film, great piece of movie history right there, and Return of the Jedi. Start with the good. Yoda dying needed to happen, but he was a great character. We all love Yoda. The beginning with Jabba and unfreezing Han from the carbonite, which previously happened in Episode 5 in The Empire Strikes Back. That's a cool scene when Luke just kills everybody and Han kills Boba Fett by accident. That's just so cool. And then they free Leia. Leia kills Jabba. That's cool when she just chokes him out with her own chain that she's tied to him with. That's a cool scene. It's like the beginning and the end for me do it the most. The end, when Luke fights Darth Vader, classic lightsaber battle, great lightsaber battle. When you think of Star Wars lightsaber battles, that one is one of the top 3 that you think of. For me, there's one in mind that I have. I'll tell you when we get to it. That is the easiest one to think of when you think of lightsaber battles. But that's one of the ones up there. Luke finally beats his father, but he had to use the dark side of the Force to do it. And then he just looks at his hand, and he's like he just realizes he's becoming his father, you know? He realizes that he's shying away from the light side of the Force, and he's turning to the dark side, and he's like, no, I can't do this. I have to realize that I am on the light side. And then when Darth Vader turns back to Anakin Skywalker and throws the Emperor down the shaft, that was really cool. I really do like that movie, but the Ewoks just drag it down for me. The Ewoks, I don't like them at all. Well, I like them a little bit, but they're kind of stupid. Like when they kill all the stormtroopers, I don't like that. But it's whatever. What's it called? The Return of the Jedi. It's a great movie. I love the beginning and the end and parts of the middle, but the Ewoks drag it down, but everything else makes it go up. And it's in the middle. But actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm switching that to number 5. So Return of the Jedi for me is my 5th favorite. Number 6, I forgot to make this number 6. Number 6 for me is actually The Rise of Skywalker. I like this movie a lot. Out of The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker, I thought it was the best of the sequel trilogy. And it's the final Star Wars movie, man. It's crazy. Things I liked about it. Remember, this is replacing Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is number 5. I love Kylo. He's like, fine, Rey turned me down in The Last Jedi. I gotta take over the First Order and just freaking do whatever it takes to take over the entire galaxy or whatever he tries to do. Palpatine, I'm half and half with Palpatine. I love Palpatine. I love how he references Revenge of the Sith Episode 3 twice when he's like, the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. When he says that to Kylo, I just think that's great. When he says do it to Rey, trying to get her to kill him, that's cool too. I thought it was an okay movie, alright? I thought it was great. I've not gotten a chance to see it a second time. I've only seen it once, but what I remember was that I loved it. The final fight, classic. Great, or not classic, but it's a great scene. I don't like when Rey takes her lightsaber and just puts it behind her back and Kylo all of a sudden has a second one. That literally means that Rey could create infinite lightsabers. Like, her and Kylo could start a lightsaber business where she just does this and then Kylo pulls them out. And then they could have infinite blue lightsabers, man. It'd be cool. Anyway, Kylo turns good in the end and learns that the Emperor is an evil person. We get to see Luke as a Force ghost again. Or Luke again as a Force ghost. He was cool. And we're just when Rey's down in the dumps, he gets her back. And then the whole thing with the dagger, that's okay. The thing with Poe's old friend, who's a girl who he ends up liking in the end, that's okay. C-3PO getting his memory wiped, but then comes back so they can figure out what the blade means, that's okay. I mean, Lando coming back again, great to see him. I love Lando's character. And when they finally beat the Emperor, I feel like the way they do it is okay. Again, it's just okay. The Emperor's like, you cannot best me, girl, I am all the Sith, and then she's like, I'm all the Jedi, when all the Jedi, like Qui-Gon, and Anakin, and Obi-Wan, and Mace Windu, and Yoda, and Ki-Adi-Mundi, and others, all, like, whisper her name to her, and she's like, you can do it, Rey. Defeat this man once and for all, or whatever. That's an okay movie. Or that's an okay scene. Anyway, Rise of Skywalker, to me, it needs a second viewing. I do like how they showed Luke and Leia training and Leia beating Luke. That was cool. But it needs a second viewing to really capture it all in. Oh yeah, and by the time I saw Leia die, I was like, I've seen Luke die, I've seen Han die, I've seen enough death to know this was going to happen, you know? Carrie Fisher died many years ago. She died in 2016. RIP. But yeah, you saw it coming a mile away. I'm surprised she didn't die in The Last Jedi. But anyway, excuse me, I burped. Rise of Skywalker for me is number 6. We already covered we already covered Return of the Jedi. That's number 5. I meant to make that number 5, not number 6. All right, number 4. My 4th favorite Star Wars movie. You see, it's tough because I want to make one lower than the other and put one in between, but then I feel like I'm doing injustice to the one other movie. So for me, number 4 is gonna have to be. It's a tough one. It's either one or the other. It's either one or the other. All right, I've decided. For me, number 4 is A New Hope, the actual 4th one, and the original Star Wars movie. I couldn't decide between that and what our number 3 choice is. A New Hope is classic. It is the first Star Wars movie, and there is nothing to me that is wrong with A New Hope. A New Hope is great. It's great. That's all there is to say. Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru, and Luke. Luke starts out as nothing, a moisture farmer, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ben Kenobi comes and sees R2-D2, and then he needs his help, you know. The whole thing with Han Solo and Jabba and Greedo. It's just great. I really do like A New Hope. My back is hurting from sitting up and straight so much, and it's kind of slouched. I really do like that movie. I watched it the other day, or the other weekend, and I thought, you know, again, just like Attack of the Clones, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie, and I really, really do like it. Bad things to say about it. I don't know, it's not, I guess, some of the effects, I don't know, it's such a classic, it's a classic piece of literature, basically. Except it's not a book, it's a movie. I guess maybe some of the acting's, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out bad things to say. Oh, wait, yeah. There is CGI because it's a re-release, they fixed it, like, Jabba was originally going to be a human being, and now he's CGI. He looks stupid. But besides that, I don't know. When the stormtrooper crashes his head on the door in the Death Star, and the fact that George Lucas added a sound to that, that's awesome. I think that's great. But besides that, I don't really got much to say. It's a classic movie. I love the Battle of Yavin at the end. I love when they destroy the Death Star. I love a lot of things about that movie. I mean, I guess if I had one nitpick with the movie, it's the lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. I mean, they're just kind of like this. Like, again, you gotta forgive them. It's the 70s, and they had never done that before. No one had ever made a lightsaber fight, ever, at all. And so when they did it for the first time, they had to figure stuff out. I mean, it's not their fault. I mean, still, it's a classic fight between Obi-Wan, old master, and apprentice, It still is a good fight. I mean, it's not great, but it's just my one nitpick is that it's not as epic or legendary as the other lightsaber fights, When you think of Star Wars classic lightsaber fights, you don't think of the A New Hope one. And plus it only lasts, 3 minutes? It's not a great lightsaber fight. Other than that, A New Hope, number 4, great movie. Loved it to death. And most people's probably number 2 movie, but my number 4, I'm a little bit different. I'm a child, so, well, I'm a teenager, but, my list will be different. So there's number 4. Taking home the bronze medal at number 3. Again, kind of tough to decide, but I feel like I had to make number 3 for me is Rogue One. Rogue One, a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people don't get Rogue One, and I'm here to explain it. So, no lightsabers, no force, just pure magic. It's a great movie. Out of all of the sequel trilogy, out of all of the 5 movies released after the original, or after the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, out of the 5 ones, those including Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rogue One, Solo, and Rise of Skywalker, easily this one takes the cake for the best Star Wars movie. Number 3 on my list, and I'll tell you why. The robot, the security droid, you guys saw those guys in my Jedi Fallen Order streams. Hate to kill him. So funny. He's so funny. And then the Death Star just destroying the planet that they're on and them escaping at the last minute with Saw Gerrera and Jyn Erso. It's just such a great combination. The Death Star looks so awesome. Director Krennic is a great villain. And what they did to Grand Moff Tarkin and Mon Mothma, making them look younger, despite the fact that the actor for Grand Moff Tarkin's been dead for a very long time. And I think Mon Mothma's still alive, but she looks probably older, or a lot older. They outstanding work. Like, Grand Moff Tarkin looks exactly like Grand Moff Tarkin from A New Hope. And it's just, I gotta lay down. I'm sorry. Everything hurts. I just gotta lay down. I'm not used to sitting down so much. It's just a great movie. The characters all banding together to try and stop, or to get to Scarif and find the plans that Jyn Erso left, or Jyn Erso's dad. What's his name? I'm forgetting everyone today. Galen Erso. When Galen Erso left the plans, and just banding together to find them and give them to the Empire, or not the Empire, the Rebels. That's great. Without Rogue One, there is no Star Wars. There's no Hope. There's no A New Hope. There's no Empire Strikes Back. There's no Return of the Jedi. Them all banding together, and then at the end, when they all die, trying to get the plans, that's cool. I mean, just how it works out, They go to Scarif, they get the plan, and they send it up, and it's all like luck. Director Krennic almost stops them. That's great when they get the plans, and then finally, Jyn Erso and Galen Erso's dream just happened. The best part of the movie for me is the end. When they all die, it's touching, it's emotional, and this is why a lot of people hate Rogue One, is because all of the main characters die at the end. They don't understand. They're used to all the characters winning and living. They do win, they just die. And the Death Star comes and just destroys Scarif. That is the coolest. It's just so cool. When the droid dies, I mean, you're like, oh, I kind of liked him. But then Cheeram, I think his name is, the blind dude. He's like, I'm one with the Force with me. He's so cool. One of my favorite Star Wars characters from that movie. When he dies, he died to get the lever so they could go in. Great. His buddy, he died too when he was killing the stormtroopers. That was cool. And then Bodhi dies because they throw the bomb in, but without him, they wouldn't have lived either. He's the pilot. And he was able to, get the message to the troopers and to the guys up top outside the planet. And then Jyn Erso and Cassian, great characters. They actually get the plans to the rebels. That's cool. When they all die at the end, it's honestly like a little bow that wraps it all up, and it's great. But easily the best scene from that movie is the one scene with a lightsaber. The rebels can't get the door open. They have the plans, and they have to pass it to other rebels through the door so they may give it to Princess Leia and escape with the plans for the Death Star. Darth Vader comes, and he just kills all of the troopers in such an amazing way. He just uses the Force, he chucks his lightsaber, blocks their bullets, blocks their lasers. It's so cool. And then the guy's just like, here, take it. As Vader's coming up behind him with the lightsaber, he's the last guy left. He's about to kill him, put his lightsaber through the door. But at the last second, the rebel takes it. And then the door closes right in front of Darth Vader's face as the ship just takes off the ship and just leaves. And it happens 5 seconds before A New Hope starts. That's great. It almost makes you want to, like, when you're watching A New Hope, it makes you want to watch Rogue One right before it, and when you're watching Rogue One, it makes you want to watch A New Hope right after it. Rogue One, when I saw it, me and my dad both agreed. Best Star Wars movie, well, for me, best Star Wars movie in a long time, and for him also. I'm not going to spoil what my number one is, though. Okay, Rogue One, number 3 for me, easily. Number 2... by popular demand, it's number 1, but for me, it's number 2. Number 2 is Empire Strikes Back. It's a great film. It really is. When you think of Star Wars, you typically think of that one. The best one of it's the best one of the original trilogy. It's better than any of the sequel ones, and for me, better than 2 of the 3 prequel ones. Luke versus Vader, great. It's great. When the big reveal when Vader's like, I am your father. That's huge. That was awesome. The whole thing with Cloud City is great. The scene at the beginning with Hoth is great. When Luke meets Yoda, Yoda's kind of like a crazy person. That's great too. The whole movie's fun. And when Yoda's training him, he's like, only take what you take with you, what you take into the cave with you is what you will find in the cave. He takes his lightsaber with him. He finds Vader, and he fights Vader, kills him, and you're like, I bet if you watch that in the original the first time, you're like, oh my god, Vader's dead, yay! But it turns out just to be Luke himself. That was cool. But it's the whole scene with, like, when they're in Cloud City that really does it. Like, the Hoth scene's really cool, but the Cloud City part's the best part. After Yoda somewhat trains Luke, and he didn't finish his training, but he goes to Cloud City to save his friends. And then Han gets put in carbonite, and then Lando, you finally meet Lando for the first time. Luke versus Vader in Episode 5 is what most adults and probably others think of when they think of the original, or when they think of lightsaber battles. They think of that one. It's classic, it's a great fight, and it's a great movie because the villain wins. Nobody's used to the villain winning. Everybody always thinks the hero's got to win. No, not in this movie. The villain wins. Boba Fett makes off with Han Solo, and the audience had to wait another 3 years. Like, now, the trilogies were released every other year, but you got, like, a bonus movie in between. The audience had to wait a long, grueling 3 years before they got to see what happened when Return of the Jedi came out. Empire Strikes Back, I couldn't say enough about it. It's a great movie. It's one of the best. It's easily one of the best. And it's the only original movie without a Death Star, you know? Darth Vader just seems ruthless in that movie, and it's just a great movie. So now it was number 2. Let's recap what we had. So number 11, The Phantom Menace. Number 10 was The Last Jedi. Number 9... oh, God. Number 9 was Attack of the Clones. Number 8 was The Force Awakens. Number 7 was Solo, A Star Wars Story. It's a lot of S's in that. Number 6 is The Rise of Skywalker. Number 5 is Return of the Jedi. Number 4 is A New Hope. Number 3 is Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. And number 2 is The Empire Strikes Back. If you've watched all the Star Wars movies, if you're friends with me and I've argued with you on the best Star Wars movie, or if you just agree with me, if you know what I haven't said, then you know what I think is the best Star Wars movie. My number 1 pick for the best Star Wars movie, without a doubt for me, is the last one in the prequel trilogy, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. What can I say? What can I say? Great movie. Again, the villains win in that movie, and it's awesome. Let's just go through the whole movie. I read the entire script for this movie. That's how much I love it. I read the entire script. I haven't read the entire script for any other movie. Just that one. It took me 50 minutes of my life away. Just read words. That's how much I cherish that movie. I just love it so much. Anakin. You finally see him as an older guy. The beginning with the ships. They go to Count Dooku. They fight Count Dooku to free the Chancellor. They kill Count Dooku. And Emperor just tells Anakin to do it. It's great. The beginning 30 minutes of that movie, great. And then the whole movie is about Anakin. It's about Anakin's story. Anakin wanted to become a Jedi Master. He isn't granted that. Anakin wanted to lead the campaign just against, trying to kill General Grievous. It doesn't happen. The lightsaber fight between Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Count Dooku is great. It's awesome. One of my favorites. And then the lightsaber fight against Grievous with Obi-Wan, it's not really a lightsaber fight. I mean, there's some lightsaber action, but it's mostly afterwards. That's cool too. But the second half of the movie is what brings home the bacon for me. Once Mace Windu instructs Anakin to go tell the Chancellor about General Grievous's death, and then the Palpatine reveals that he is a Sith Lord, the one they've been looking for, the main bad guy, the one that trained Darth Maul and Count Dooku. And Anakin tells Mace Windu that's what sets the whole thing off. Anakin gets betrayed by the Chancellor, and he doesn't even know it yet. Mace Windu and some others try to go kill him, and it's such an awesome fight. Mace Windu has him pinned down, Anakin comes and ruins it. It's such a great scene. And then, it's a very memeable movie. It's the most memed Star Wars movie, and that only adds to it. And then, when Palpatine's like, become my new apprentice, and then he's like, I will do whatever you ask, and then he says, good. It's classic. It's one of the first Palpatine things you think of, is just when he says good. And then Anakin becomes Darth Vader. Perfect. It's beautiful. He's like, you shall be known as Darth Vader. And then he goes to kill all the Jedi at the temple, including the younglings. And then he has to go to Mustafar to kill the Separatists. It's wonderful. I love it. I love it so much. And then the best part of the whole movie is the very end. For me, probably. Anakin versus Obi-Wan. When Obi-Wan was just like, I trained you. I've known you for 20-some years. I trained you all the way until this point. And just turns on him.
because of Padme, the one he loves. The whole movie really is about Anakin and Padme and the premonitions he had in his dreams about Padme dying and the Chancellor tricking Anakin with saying he can save the ones he loved. Really, it's just about Palpatine wanting Anakin to become his apprentice. Anakin versus Obi-Wan, for me, Naha is saying some people think of this lightsaber fight in Return of the Jedi as classic Star Wars lightsaber fights or Empire Strikes Back. No. For me, it's Revenge of the Sith. That is easily the best lightsaber fight in all of Star Wars. And it's wonderful. Like, it just works so well. Like, with Yoda against Count Dooku and Yoda against Palpatine, which is happening at the same time, which is also a great lightsaber fight. For me, I don't like it that much because Yoda's tiny and he's just jumping around like a crazy maniac. It's hard to watch, you know? Anakin versus Obi-Wan, they're the same height. They have so much skill. Anakin uses rage, and it's crazy to watch. He's insane. Insane with the lightsaber. And in the end, when Obi-Wan has the high ground, Anakin's like, you underestimate my power. And Anakin gets destroyed by Obi-Wan. Oh, that's great, too. Order 66 is great when all the Jedi are executed and the clones turn on them. And the bad guys win. Because Anakin lives and becomes Darth Vader, gets all of his armor. I think that's a cool scene, too, when he's like, no. And then Padme gives birth to the babies. Excuse me. It's a great movie. Easily the best Star Wars movie. And one of my favorite movies of all time. If you don't like Revenge of the Sith, I don't like you. Well, it's going to be hard for me to be friends with you if you don't like Revenge of the Sith. Just so you know. But anyway, thank you guys for watching my top 11 list. Ranking all Star Wars from worst to best. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you agree with most of my picks. Again, a lot of people are going to have different opinions, but this is just my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video, whether it's a ranking video, a normal video, or a stream. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.